Okay, it says solve the quadratic equation by completing the square. So that's a specific method it wants us to do. The goal when you're completing the square is to turn the equation into something that looks like a binomial squared is equal to some constant. Once we do that, then we can just take the square root of both sides. Now, how do we accomplish that? Well, there's several steps. First thing you want to do is move the constant over to the other side of the equation. So we have x squared plus 10x is equal to negative 6. So I did minus 6 here and minus 6 there. Now we want to turn this side of the equation into that thing that's going to look like a binomial squared, which means I got to turn this x squared plus 10x into a trinomial that is in fact a perfect square trinomial. And the way we do that is, this is the trick, we take this middle coefficient, 10, and divide it by 2. Take half of that middle coefficient, and then we square it. And that result, we pop right in there. Well, that's going to end up being 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So we put plus 25 here. Now, whatever I do to the left side of the equation, we have to also do to the right side. Remember, we got to keep this thing in balance here. So our equation now is this: x squared plus 10x plus 25 is equal to, and then negative 6 plus 25, that'll be 19. All right, now I need to factor this side, and because we went through all this, we know that it will factor as something squared. Now the something is x plus 5. Because the thing that I squared, that 10 divided by 2, that gave me 5, and I squared 5 and got 25. But that thing that I squared is what goes here. We could always check this by foiling. You know, you could do x plus 5 times x plus 5. Foil that out, and you should get x squared plus 10x plus 25, which we would. All right, now the whole point of that was so that we could get the equation into something like this. Now what we're going to do is take the square root of both sides. Well, we take the square root of the left side, we get just x plus 5. When we take the square root of the right side, we get plus or minus the square root of 19. Remember, when you take the square root of both sides, we always have to say plus or minus, because this radical symbol is only indicating the positive square root. But we know both the positive and the negative square root of 19 is what would make this true. All right, so let's go finish this guy off. So we have to subtract 5 from both sides. And so we have x is equal to negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 19. You could leave the answer in that form. I think even my math lab will be okay with that. Certainly on a test, that's fine. If you wanted to separate them out like they tell you to do in my math lab, even though they don't require it, you would do this: negative 5 plus the square root of 19, comma, negative 5 minus the square root of 19. And that's how it asks you to enter the answers, but I'm pretty confident it'll take it like that as well. All right, if you have any questions, let me know.